Well, good morning, everyone. And once again, welcome to another live this morning. Hope you're having a great start to your day. We sure appreciate you coming on with us as usual. And we want to say hello to a few folks here this morning. Thank you. We love you guys dearly. Brahim, number one on the hit parade from Portland, Oregon. Eric, bonjour, Ottawa. Andrea, Niagara Falls, good morning to you. And Mike from Norland, right up at the top. Karen, Kincardine. Rosa, Montreal. Mary, Norwich. Melissa from Cambridge. Deb from Timmins. Keith, good morning. And Nick from our staff. Jerry, Nouveau-Brunswick. Chantal. And Gertie. Gertie from Oakville. Burlington, right? Donna, good morning. Yolande, bonjour. Janine, Hurst, Shirley. And Karen from Indiana. Fran from Orangeville. And we appreciate you guys coming on. Thanks so much. Wendy, Markham. Yeah, Gertie's Burlington. Did I say Oakville? Well, it's pretty close. Carolyn, how are you? Edmonton, bonjour. Jeanette, Lori and Ryan. Sarasota, Florida. Catherine. Parksville, British Columbia. Julie, I think. Chantal. Andre, and Georgie, Halifax, Nova Scotia. Renee, Newfoundland. Sue, good morning. Kevin, did I miss you, Kevin? I don't know how I miss you. Cindy, Francis, Vaughn. And it gets up into that, Mary, how are you? Tina. And Karen, good morning. Jeanette from our staff. And Doc McEwen, how are you? Carmen, Medicine Hat, Alberta. Toro, John, how are you? And Cecilia from Shedziaka. Rosalinda, good morning. Yeah, I don't know, Cap. I miss you every once in a while. Shireen, how are you? Leela, Werner. And Linda, St. Jude, Quebec, good morning. Debbie, another Debbie out there. And Susan, good morning to you. A couple more. Sue, Bolton. Margaret, good morning. Carol, Moncton. And Diane from Ottawa. Olga, Nouveau-Brunswick. Frida, good morning. She said she had a hard time finding me. And yeah, I don't know why. Have no idea. Okay. We're going to talk today about, the year 1980. Okay? 1980. Got that? What happened in 1980? Well, listen to this, okay? This comes out of the Journal of Clinical Nutrition, okay? And they say, okay, this is the article. Obesity and an unexplained epidemic. This is the Journal of Clinical Nutrition. Since 1980, obesity has soared. And here's what they say. It's unexplained. Well, Journal of Clinical Nutrition, I'm going to explain it to you. I'm going to tell you what happened. What happened in 1980, where the journal says we have an epidemic of obesity. Okay? And they don't know what happened. What is it? And they're getting into Americans. Listen to this. Okay, here's what they're saying in the Journal of Clinical Nutrition. Actually, Americans are eating less than they used to. And they're getting bigger. I'm going to tell you why. Why didn't they call me? I would have told them why. Okay? And, insulin. Okay, so we're going to talk about this because insulin is a growth hormone. And today, we have so much more insulin. Americans might be eating less. Canadians might be eating less. It's what they're eating. I've told you this it seems like thousands of times. It ain't calories. See, because what they're saying is Americans are eating less calories. And they can't figure out why America, and that's what they were talking about, Canada, USA, I know we have a border, but what's the difference? Right? I mean, we eat the same foods. And so they can't figure it out. And I want to tell you why that's happened, okay? And let me give you a little bit of history because it's really important that we understand this, okay? So, when you look at food, what's happened? Now, I have been saying this for a lot of years because, like I said, before this podcast, I had a radio show. And I talk a lot about this. What's happened since 1980? Okay? So the first thing that happened since 1980 is that we changed sugars. Okay? We changed sugars. So we went to a high fructose corn syrup. Okay? Okay? So we did two things. We switched the sugars in 1980. Well, as a matter of fact, by 1982, Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola, all the soda companies switched. They went from sugar to high fructose corn syrup. And the reason they did it, the government was involved in this, guys. The government was involved because the government subsidized corn. If you were a farmer, a corn farmer, the government subsidized this. They wanted more corn. Okay. But what these food giants did, they took corn and the corn syrup and they made an artificial, really, liquid sugar, high fructose corn syrup, the antichrist of sugars, okay? The antichrist of sugars. And everybody in the food industry, when they realized the government subsidized it, made it cheap, very cheap. And it was cheaper than putting ordinary sugar in food. They added it to the sodas, to the chocolate bars, to the cereals, to the you name it. They flipped the sugar. Number one. So, I'm going to write this down on our little board. In 1980, fructose. And, okay, 1980, they switched to sugar. They went and they got fructose. Okay, 1980. What else was happening by 1980? Okay. And fructose, by the way, and I remember them saying this. Well, it's not like it's actually better for you because they said, okay, it doesn't spike your insulin, not like sugar does. Fructose won't spike your insulin. Think of it. You're eating a fruit. It's good for you. That's what the food industry said. But what they didn't realize is that high fructose corn syrup, it didn't spike your insulin, but it spiked your insulin resistance big time. Okay? And another point, when a bear gets ready for winter, what does it eat? You think bears are stupid? Okay? How do I get fat? How do I get fat for the winter? Berries. Now, I love berries, and I love blueberries, and they're good for you. Okay? But you don't eat, a bear will eat up to 30,000 blueberries in a day, apparently. Like, holy moly. But they're getting ready for winter, you see. It's hibernation. And if you want to get fat, high fructose corn syrup is unreal. It's sugar on steroids. It'll puff you up big time. And I always tell people, look, if you left the planet in the 1970s and you came back to planet Earth in 2023 and you went to your local mall or Costco or wherever people gather, what would you see? You'd be shocked. What happened? What happened? 1980, the Journal of Clinical Nutrition, unexplained obesity. Unexplained. What a mystery. I can't get over it. How they could even say that. They switched the sugar. They switched the sweetener. That's what they did. And I've been screaming ever since. Screaming. John the Baptist in the wilderness. Hello out there. It's not a mystery. It's not a mystery. And then you have insulin resistance. You have high circulating insulin. It doesn't spike the insulin at first. Sounds good. But your cells at the cellular level, they resist it. So now your pancreas has to secrete even more. The population got bigger. The population got bigger because of high fructose corn syrup. It's the biggest culprit. And now we're consuming, people don't realize it, near 200 pounds a year on average. Your body was never, ever meant for that. Okay? And because of that high fructose corn syrup, okay, everything got bigger. So let me just, I'm going to write this down so you can see it. What got bigger? Okay, our body, bigger. Go to the mall. Okay? Our hearts got bigger. Oh, Dr. Martin, we got such you got such a big heart. Don't tell me that. I don't want a big heart. Like emotionally, I do. Okay? But I don't want physically to have a big heart. Okay? And, we have, everything grows. So you have a big heart. And you have, okay, let me write this out. You have a bigger liver. Okay? And, I'm going to write this out and show it to you. Okay? So what do you got? You got a bigger body. Okay? Got a bigger body. You got a bigger heart. Yikes. Yikes. You don't want a big heart. Cardiomyopathy. Your heart gets big. You don't want that. Okay? You don't want a big heart. Okay? And you get a big liver. Do you want a big liver? No. And today, since 1980, listen, Linda's and Larry's out there, listen, since 1980, in 1980, true story, there was no such thing as NFL. Okay, not the football league. There was no such thing as an NAFL. You know what an NAFL is? Non-alcoholic fatty liver. There was no such thing. Wasn't in the medical textbooks. There was cirrhosis of the liver. Alcoholics, cirrhosis of the liver. Studied that. But you know what we didn't study? Non-alcoholic fatty liver. We didn't study it. You know why we didn't study it? Because it didn't exist until 1980. And here's the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition scratching their heads. What happened? Unexplained. Americans are eating less calories. But guys, we know better. They switched the sugar. They got fructose. And fructose, like alcohol, goes right to your liver. Right to your liver. It's metabolized in your liver, just like alcohol is. It's meant for hibernation. Like it's not meant for you to live on. So then, what happens in the liver? What do we say all the time here? What happens in the liver doesn't stay in the liver, unfortunately. Insulin is a growth hormone. It makes things grow. Your heart, your liver, okay? Your heart, your liver, your kidneys. You want to be a lean, mean fighting machine. You don't want this fat everywhere. Now, I just got to say this, in case you're thinking, well, Dr. Martin, didn't you want us to have a fat head? Yes and no. Okay, yes. You call me fathead, take it as a compliment. But what happens in the brain is different because Okay? What have I taught you? When you get insulin resistance in the brain, insulin can't even get across the blood-brain barrier. So what happens to your brain? It's swimming in glucose or fructose. It's swimming in it, but it doesn't get inside the cells. So it's like swimming in the ocean. You're surrounded by water, but you can't drink it. So your brain cells shrink, especially your hippocampus. The brain cells shrink. So since 1980, okay, increase in the size of our bodies, big time, obesity, epidemic, and they're saying, well, the statistics on it were crazy. They can't, and they can't figure it out. But they say like young people, kids, and somewhere around 40% of the population is morbidly obese. And somewhere around 80% of the population is overweight, according to this article. They're overweight, and 40% are severe obesity. And they scratch their heads and go, why? Well, I'm a why guy. I'm a why guy. Why did this happen? Okay? Now, I'm going to write something else down. Okay? Because this happened pretty well at the same time. Okay? Here's what happened pretty well at the same time. See it? We were eating less fat. According to the world, fat makes you fat. Fat is bad for your heart. Fat is bad for your everything. Fat makes you fat. And the whole world, pretty well, went for the lie. Fat gives you cholesterol. And cholesterol gives you heart disease. No, fructose does. But the whole world went low fat. Everything you go into the grocery store, low fat yogurt, low fat this, low fat milk, low fat, you name it, low fat. Why? Ansel Keys, the serial killer that I write about in my book, Sun, Steak, and Steel. He got the whole world, not in his hands, but he duped the world. You know why President Eisenhower had a heart attack? He said, it started all with this. And by the 1960s, his picture was on the cover of Time magazine. I had to study this guru's hypothesis. Fat clogged your arteries. Fat made you sick. Fat was bad. Fat. So let's go low fat. Oh, what happened? So by the 1980s, women especially were eating low fat foods. Because if you eat low fat, you eat less calories. Because calories in and calories out. It became the mantra of the world. Guys, I watched it. I watched it happen. And it bothered me. I used to scream, "You're looking for love in all the wrong places." It didn't make me popular, by the way. That's not popular. I went against the grain. I said, well, cholesterol is good for you. How can you tell me cholesterol is not good for you? Cholesterol is good for you. And cholesterol is only found in the animal kingdom. So what did people do? If they did eat meat, they ate chicken. And women started chicken and salad. I'm going to have a little bit of chicken on my salad. And what became the most popular breakfast for women was low-fat yogurt. And guess what they put in the yogurt? Fructose. Fructose. High fructose corn syrup. Guess what they put in the salad dressings? High fructose corn syrup. They put it in every snack. They put it in every soda. They put it in everything. It was government subsidized. It was so cheap. And the food industry were giving each other high fives. They found a sugar, a man-made sugar that was cheap, that never, because you could solidify it or liquefy it, lasts forever. I remember arguing one time, I think on my radio show, years and years ago. I'm talking a long time ago. It might have been even the time I used to do the Lynn Martin show in Windsor. I was a guest on there once a month for years and years and years. And I think it was a live-in saying, well, Dr. Martin, it's fructose. Fructose is good for you. I said, listen, God wanted you to eat fruit, not drink it. I don't want you to drink it. He wants you to eat it. And this high fructose corn syrup was put into everything. And then the second lie was, okay, it was a lie from the food industry. Okay? And secondly, low fat. And look at what that experiment has given us. A low-fat diet. And even today, you get every vegetarian, every vegan, every documentary that you can look at just about in Netflix or others will tell you, oh, this is so good for you. Man, look, you want to eat some vegetables? Good for you. But don't come and tell me it's better for you than the animal kingdom, because it ain't. It's just not. Bring me a piece of broccoli, which is usually the number one food in the plant kingdom. People will say, well, this has got the most of everything. And I like broccoli. I do. But you can't put it up against a steak. I'm sorry. You just can't. You just can't. It's not even close. In terms of the nutrient profile, it's not even close. It's getting hammered. What happened in 1980? Wow. And the world's changed. And now we're at, where are we at today? Okay? Where are we at today? 93% of the population have metabolic syndrome. 93%. 93% of the population is on the Titanic. And most of them have no idea why they're there. They're paying the piper. They paid the fare because they got duped. They think about calories. They think low fat, even today. And they think in moderation today. Like, yeah, we can have, everything in moderation. Wow, that came out of the food industry, by the way. Where did that statement come from? And then the food industry is not stupid. Just understand, this is huge. Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola. They buy everything. The Lever brothers. You just name it. There's only about 8 or 9 companies left. They're huge conglomerates. And they get into bed. They're in bed with the pharmaceutical companies. Now, does that mean there's no good people in those industries? Of course there is. People that, dedicate their lives. But they're going the wrong way. They've been duped. They've been duped. And I'm not even optimistic that we're going to change course, our world. We have, since 1980, you know what we have? We have more heart disease than we ever did before. We have more non-alcoholic fatty liver. It's an epidemic, even in kids. And we have an epidemic today of diabetes. True or false? It's true. And the world shakes its head. It's too bad. Let's develop more drugs. Let's eat in moderation. It can't be food. It can't be high fructose corn syrup, because that's good for you. Look where we are today with big hearts and big livers. And when you got big in the wrong places, you got heart disease worse than ever. Worse than ever. It's not better than ever. It's worse than ever. They put hearts on the boxes of cereal. Imagine that. Cereal has a heart on the box. You know why? Because it's low fat. There's no fat in cereal. Good for you. And the whole world has gone for it. Limit your eggs. Limit your butter. Limit, especially that fatty meat there. You better limit that. 1980. 1980. I was still a young puppy in 1980. And I watched it happen. And it got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And today, look at cancer. Okay? You know what you have? Big cancer cells. Cancer's through the roof. Worse than ever. It's not better than ever. Ladies, you got more chances of getting breast cancer today than you did in 1980. Men, you got more chance of getting prostate cancer today than you did in 1980. I thought we had a war on cancer. Well, we're fighting the war with a pop gun. Remember what a pop gun was? Did they make those anymore? A pop gun. The Journal of Clinical Nutrition. Unexplained obesity. Unexplained. A mystery. Americans are eating less. They're not eating as many calories as they used to. Unexplained. A mystery. No, not so much. Not so much. Anyway, when I read that article, hey guys, what is Friday? Question and answer Friday. Okay. How do you like my little boards? I kind of like it. Okay. Guys, we appreciate you more than you know. Thanks for this wonderful audience that watches and listens live. For our audience that listens to our podcast, thank you. We love you dearly, more than you know. And we care for you. And I know on this program, we don't even mean, yeah, we do, to be controversial. But guys, I'm going to tell you the truth. Whether it hurts or not, we're going to go in behind the scenes. What are so-called mysteries today? And I'm going to show you it's not a mystery at all. Love you. Talk to you soon.